I can still remember the smell of ashes. It was the last night I spent in the Middle Ages. The stone walls were cold, and the fire was far too alive. I did not come into this world by choice. Time seized me and dragged me here by force, hurling me into the very heart of the modern world with a breath 1,000 years old. I had no choice but to adapt. That is why I started making videos on YouTube. People no longer shouted in town squares. They screamed in comment sections instead. The witch's cauldron had been replaced by the algorithm. So I began to tell my stories of herbs, of curses, of lost times. Being watched is a strange kind of magic. No one burns you at the stake, yet everyone judges you. According to him, spiders in the Middle Ages were enormous and venomous. But the knight would neutralize them with sword strikes. Not one blow, but several. As he told the story, he waved his hand through the air, as if he was still cutting down spiders. Venom filled the air. Death was always at the door. And yet the knight stood perfectly upright. The spiders were gigantic, the sword razor sharp, and with every retelling, the story grew a little larger. When he talked about it on YouTube, his voice was completely serious, as if it weren't the algorithm watching him, but fate itself. Then, one day, he bought a metal spider Lego set. With the same gravity, he began to assemble it. But this time, the spider was truly motionless. There was no venom, no chance of escape, no need for sword strikes. Still, he held his breath as he snapped the pieces together, as if everything might fall apart if he failed to follow the instructions exactly. I couldn't resist. I left a comment under his video. Did you raise your shield for this one too? Or was the shadow of your chainmail enough? The metal spider suited his epics better anyway. It had no venom, no will of its own. It only knew how to listen. But as I mocked him, I realized I was fighting a battle with myself as well, because we were bound by the same curse. We had both been cast out of time. He polished his past with spiders. I was trying to make sense of the present with my ashes. And that is exactly when the phoenix came to mind. The phoenix. That ancient bird reborn from its ashes, for whom every burning is not an ending, but a passage. In myths, it is always described as hope, but no one speaks of the pain of burning. To be reborn, you must first be destroyed. Everything I left behind in the Middle Ages, my power, my fear, my identity, remained inside a fire. In the modern world, I exist in the state closest to the phoenix's ashes. My YouTube channel is, in truth, a nest. A digital nest built among ashes. Every video is an attempt to beat my wings. Every comment, a new feather. The knight? He is still afraid of fire. That is why he builds metal spiders. Things that do not burn, do not change, that feel safe. I, on the other hand, am changing. A little more every day. Maybe one day the phoenix truly returns. Maybe that phoenix is me. Or maybe, in this age, anyone who learns to rise from their ashes becomes a phoenix, at least in part. But this much I know. If time has thrown me here, then I will enchant this time in return. I will shape a new life from screens, from words, and from ashes.